We are at a very interesting point with computers at the moment. You have laptops that want to be tablets, you have tablets that want to be laptops, but what does it look like in a year's time? What is your laptop going to become? What is your tablet going to become? Let's find out. Our panel this week is Luke Hopewell, the editor of the tech website Gizmodo, and Wendy Zuckerman, who's a technology journalist and the host of the Science Versus podcast. What is the future of the laptop? I want to start with you, Wendy. What do you think the laptop looks like this time in 2016? Because we're not going to get to talk to you between now and then. I want to know now.
I think it's going to look more and more like a tablet with an attachable keyboard. Currently, I don't think the technology is good enough so that you can do all of the things on a tablet on that sort of thin. I don't think the processors are good enough at the moment to get everything that you want and to get the multitasking that you want and this sort of thing. But possibly by next year, we'll definitely be getting closer and closer to that.
Luke Hopewell, in terms of the melding of the laptop and the tablet, melding maybe not the right word, the splitting potentially is a better term. Who's doing it best?
It all comes down to what you need. It all comes down to whether you really, really want to use a tablet but sometimes a laptop, or whether you really, really need a laptop and sometimes a tablet. The thing is there's never been a perfect 50-50 of the two. Surface, which is a really, really great laptop in terms of how you use Windows and how you use the keyboard and the form factor and stuff like that. It's very portable. And then you go to use it as a tablet and it kind of falls over. The screen ratio is not quite good enough. It's not very well thought out.
It's slightly too big as well. Like I was using one the other day, and of course you flip it over and you start using it, and then I fumbled it through the keyboard as well. Comparative to the iPad Pro though, how does that...
And then you've got iPad Pro, which is a fantastic tablet because Apple knows how to do tablets. It's been doing it for bloody ages. There's a new split screen multitasking option, which makes it a little bit easier to use for work, but it's not something that you're going to replace your laptop full time with, if you get what I'm saying.
How much of that is about the operating system though? Because
everything.
Yeah, because with iPad Pro, you're still using like the mobile operating system, the iOS sort of system that we're used to. And there are a lot of things that you still can't quite do in that environment. So in a weird kind of way, this isn't really that much about hardware. It's about software in a way. Like it's about, melding the two experiences. Is Microsoft better placed in that sense?
Windows sucks on tablets and iOS sucks on desktops. If you could put Mac OS X onto an iPad, game over. If you can come up with a version of Windows that's not Windows RT because it's god-awful, but if you can come up with a version of Windows that's good for tablets first, then great. You've solved these two problems and you've now got it 50-50 in terms of here's something that's great for both of those things.
With the iPad Pro, you've got all these kind of weird design features that would have been really easy to fix, but Apple didn't. So things like the stand, the Kickstand, it's on a particular angle, and people have been complaining that sometimes they want to move the angle. Yeah, because just like with your laptop, you want to kind of push it back if the light is a certain way, if you sit in a certain way. Since Apple is sort of famed for its amazing design elements, I feel like that was something that was really silly. Adjustable Kickstand.
I think kickstands in general are actually a really big problem, because where is the place you use a laptop most? On your lap. And kickstands are actually really awkward on your lap.
Lappable is a word we've started using in reviews.
How
really? Lappable is this device?
You got out of tech journalism at the right time.
Sorry guys, smoke bomb.
The thing you were saying about split screen is really interesting, because that's really Apple's attempt at windowing, basically, allowing you to replicate the business of having multiple windows. Does it work?
Do you know what? It does.
Really?
We reviewed the iPad Pro, and I was very ready to say, oh, it's a big iPad, it's not very good. I picked it up, plugged it in, and tried to give it like the 5-minute go, which is like, come on, let's wait for you to break.
Yeah.
Got to the end of the day and was incredibly satisfied. The problem is that the way that I do my job is that I manage files. I plug things in and out. I still use USB. The thing is that you need access to the file system, which iOS doesn't give you, and you also need access to plugging stuff in.
That's right, because the iPad Pro doesn't have a USB port, for example.
It has the Lightning port, which you can plug a couple of things into if you want to, but they have to be specifically configured and have their own apps and things like that. It's a hacky way to get around the file system problem, which Windows just does because it's Windows.
All right. The final question is, if you were in the market for one of these, you could only buy one. You weren't allowed to have a tablet. You weren't allowed to have a laptop. You only had to have one of these weird laplets. Taplot, one of those. You had to pick between these two. Yeesh. Which one would you pick, Wendy Zuckerman?
I'd forget it all and just go back to signature technology.
What is signature technology?
That's the pen and paper. No, I think I'd go. I tend to use laptops a lot more than tablets, so I would go for the Surface.
All right.
I need something that can do everything all the time. And to be honest, it's probably still going to be my humble MacBook. Or if you really, really want something that separates,
I'm holding a gun to your head. You have to pick one of these two.
Have you ever heard of the Microsoft Surface Book? The Microsoft Surface Book is essentially a laptop with a detachable screen, and it's crazy powerful. It's also crazy expensive at about $5,000, but it's insanely powerful. And if you want something that does 50-50 really well, the Microsoft Surface Book is actually quite good if you've got the cash.
All right, there is lots more of this discussion on the audio edition of Download the Show. We're also talking about the death of the music streaming service Rdio. You can find it all at the RN website. Thanks, guys.